You don't need a handover since you're just a high school grad, sort of like drop out. I'll ask the elite staff, so just disappear quickly.
The department head, Will, said so, laughing condescendingly at me. Just because I'm a high school grad, do I deserve to be treated like this? I fought back the urge to shout, filled with frustration and anger. Understood. He probably didn't expect me to agree so easily. The boss looked surprised for a moment. To him, I nodded and then turned my back, saying, "If you want me gone, I'll make it happen." Thinking about what was to come, I muttered this as I left the company. The next day, while I was hanging out with Sarah, my phone buzzed with a message from the boss. "You were the one who told me to disappear, weren't you?" Ignoring that, I prioritized Sarah, and before I knew it, I had 100 missed calls. I couldn't ignore it any longer. When I answered the phone, I heard Will pleading, "Please come back now. Without you, our company will go under." I am John Legend, a 32-year-old father of one. My parents died in a car accident when I was very young. As a result, I was raised by my uncle, a man who brought me up on his own. My uncle was frail and not able to earn much.
I'm sorry, John. I really want to buy you more of what you like.
It's okay. I don't really want for much anyway.
Still, he always put me first, trying to spare me any sadness. He made sure I had well-balanced meals. While he would only have cabbage dishes, he wore tattered clothes, while ensuring I had new ones that fit as I grew. He was such a kind person.
I'll work as soon as I graduate high school. I don't really have anything I want to become.
I was always grateful to my uncle, and to repay him as soon as possible, I chose to work right after high school.
All right, if you've decided, then I won't stop you. But remember, options are limited with just a high school education.
Yeah, I know, but someone said they'd hire me.
The job I landed was at a factory that manufactured a certain product. The only place that hired me, even as a high school grad, was there, and I ended up working hard surrounded by adults. Fortunately, the people around me sympathized with my situation and offered advice not just on work, but on personal matters as well.
John, take this if you like. I made too much of this.
Wow, thank you.
Some even brought snacks, and I spent my days grateful to those around me. Then, my uncle fell ill. Despite his savings, my salary was quickly consumed by his medical expenses and my own living costs.
I'm really sorry.
Don't worry about it. You took me in, and that's why I've grown up. It's my way of repaying you.
Each time I visited, my uncle had a remorseful look. Frankly, I don't really have any hobbies or desires, so I wasn't particularly bothered.
You're such a sweet and good kid, John.
My uncle would say with a gentle smile. He passed away when I was 20, after his condition worsened.
Now I'm truly alone.
I thought during those days of grief, the person who supported me through that time was Amy, who would later become my wife.
It's not okay, is it? You lost your family. I'm here if you want to talk.
She reached out to me, offering heartfelt support. Thanks to Amy, I managed to look forward. It wasn't long before we naturally started dating, and thinking about marriage came easily.
Amy, will you be part of my family?
Yes, I'd love to.
A few months into dating, although I felt it might be too soon, I proposed, and Amy said yes with the biggest smile. Then we were blessed with our daughter, Sarah, and I've been living happily ever since.
John, we've got a call from that client.
Thank you. Initially, I worked on the factory floor, but now I'm in sales. Selling the products I once helped create has been incredibly rewarding. Turns out, I had a knack for sales. Many clients took a liking to me, and sometimes I even landed big contracts. I was fully committed to doing my best and contributing to the company. But not everyone was pleased with me.
Hey, drop out. Get this paperwork done by the end of today.
What? But this isn't my job.
Don't talk back with your lack of education. Just do as I say.
That was Will Smith, the department head. He always called me dropout and belittled me for my education, piling on unrelated chores or his work onto me.
John, let me handle that. You have a meeting coming up, right?
Thanks. That helps a lot. Despite Will's attitude, my colleagues support me.
It's fine. Without you, we couldn't even do our jobs.
Everyone knows my contributions and tries to protect me. But Will, who was at the branch office until recently, doesn't know them and looks down on me for my education. They tried to explain to him, but as soon as my name came up, he'd shut down the conversation, saying, "Don't talk about that dropout in front of me." Eventually, everyone gave up trying to explain to the manager and instead focused on supporting me. I just need to concentrate on my own work for now. I have a family to provide for. I've got to hustle to support the two of us. Man, I'm beat today, I muttered as I get home. And Amy, with a concerned look, said,
"You've had a tough day, John. It seems hard every day."
"Yeah, it's a bit, but I'm okay." I tried to sound upbeat to avoid worrying Amy, but she clearly frowned.
"You always bottle things up. Don't hide it from me."
So, I vented to her about Will. After hearing me out, Amy murmured, "I've heard about that actually." "Heard about what?"
Rumors that the head of sales is elitist, looking down on those with less education. I never imagined it was true, let alone that you were the one being looked down on.
Amy works in the accounting department of the same company. It seems that rumors about the manager have spread to other departments. Knowing this, I couldn't help but give a wry smile.
Should I talk to the president about it?
No, I don't want to trouble you with my issues. But if things don't improve soon, I might ask for your help.
All right, but promise to talk about it soon.
Amy said, slightly annoyed, and I nodded in agreement. Just then, I felt a bump on my knee and looked down to see Sarah with a beaming smile.
"Daddy, let's play."
"Yeah, sure." Feeling lighter after talking to Amy, I picked up my daughter with a smile. A few days after our conversation, I got a call from a well-known big company saying they want to do business with me, even though it's tough to land contracts with them. Really, thank you so much. Not just me, but the whole department was thrilled, and just when we were about to get the contract signed.
Good job. I'll take it from here.
What? Incredibly, Will tried to take credit for my work. While I was still confused, he snatched the contract and headed to the client.
Will, that's not right. John was the reason we got this deal.
What are you talking about? It just so happened he was handling it when the deal came through. It wouldn't matter who went.
Everyone blamed Will like crazy, but he just shrugged it off.
I can't trust such an important task to a high school grad. You should go organize the warehouse or something.
He ordered me to do menial work and left triumphantly.
John, are you okay?
While I was sorting things in the warehouse, feeling down, Amy appeared. I wondered why she came to the warehouse. As I looked surprised, she came closer, smiling. I heard from a colleague.
Do I still need to wait and see?
She asked, looking at me intently. Her words made me hesitate. This whole situation was a real shock, and I wondered why it was always me. Yet, somewhere deep down, I might ever be accepted. I feel that way.
John, you're kind and diligent. Maybe you want to be acknowledged at work, but I'll talk about it anyway.
With that, Amy left the warehouse.
Hey, drop out. Do you have some sort of relationship with Amy from accounting?
Will, back from meeting a client and clearly irritated, asked me that. What? She's my wife. I just told him the truth, but he looked displeased for a moment.
Amy is your wife. For a nondescript dropout like you.
Amy is indeed beautiful, with her youthful appearance. I hear many men admire her, and perhaps Will is one of them.
Hey, introduce me to her.
What? Will said, smirking. His words left me dumbfounded.
I mean, introduce me to Amy.
That's impossible. I can't just introduce my own wife.
What? Don't you dare defy me, you uneducated fool.
Will glared at me. But she is the one thing I can't compromise on. So, I firmly refused. But it seems that just irritated him even more. After that, it wasn't just work he dumped on me, but he started to harass me too, breaking my personal items at my desk, spreading rumors about me. Everyone believes in me and knows Will is behind it. However, without concrete evidence, I endured the harassment for days on end.
Cut it out already.
The first to snap was surprisingly Will. Glaring at me, he shouted,
You won't introduce me to Amy, and you don't quit even with the harassment. Plus, you got all cocky with that contract win. I don't need you around.
What does that mean? Watching him rant and rave, I found myself getting calm instead. So when I asked him coldly, he declared, We don't need low-educated people in our company. You're fired. I was stunned, not expecting him to be so blunt. Will smirked at my reaction.
You, just a high school grad, sort of like drop out. Don't need a handover. I'll ask the elite employees, so just disappear quickly.
He said, laughing at me disdainfully. Do I have to be treated this way just because I'm a high school grad? I managed to suppress the urge to shout back, filled with frustration and anger. Understood. He probably didn't expect me to accept it so readily, and looked momentarily surprised. I nodded to Will, turned my back on him, and said, If you want me gone, I'll make it happen. Thinking about what was to come, I muttered this as I left the company. I contacted Amy and told her I had been fired.
Understood. I'll talk to the president. Can I ask you to pick up Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Ben, I went to pick up Sarah from kindergarten and returned home.
You've worked hard until now. Take some time to rest.
Deciding to take her advice, I chose to relax for a while. Let's play a lot tomorrow.
Yay.
Healed by my daughter's joyous reaction, I started to think about the future. Then, while playing with Sarah the next day, my phone rang with a call from Will. You were the one who said to disappear, right? Ignoring it and prioritizing Sarah, I eventually noticed I had 100 missed calls. I couldn't ignore it any longer. When I finally answered, Will's yelling came through. You finally answer. What have you been doing, John? Seeing Sarah flinch at his loud voice, I apologized to her before stepping away. There's no need to shout. I can hear you.
It doesn't matter. Without you, our flagship product won't sell.
Of course. I hold the patent for that flagship product. My words silenced Will. Ben, in a shaking voice, he muttered, No way. You're lying, right? Back when I was in the factory, I worked hard every day to create a better product. As a result, I developed a patent technology worth $500 million, recognized for my achievements. I was transferred to the main office in sales, Being the inventor, I understand the product's strengths and unique aspects, which I use to market it to clients. Currently, the company is just leasing the rights from me, I explained, causing Will to fall silent again. Since I'm the sole holder of this technology, the company can't use it if I'm fired. He seemed to realize that. Then he pleaded urgently, "Please come back now. Without you, our company will go under." I answered with a smile, "No, thank you. I've decided to spend the day with my daughter." With that, I hung up the phone and turned it off. "Sorry for the wait, Sarah." As I called out, Sarah came running towards me with a beaming smile from the corner.
By the way, the sales department was in total panic.
Amy said with a laugh when she got home. "It seems that with my absence, the product sustaining our company couldn't sell, and now they're facing hundreds of millions in losses, potentially leading to bankruptcy." She mentioned that my colleagues had been blaming Will.
To me, it's like, whatever at this point. You know.
What? Amy didn't like the sales department's attitude to begin with. They helped me, but only because of the patent technology I possessed. If they really cared, they should have talked to Will until he understood properly.
After all, they were just trying to avoid getting on his bad side themselves.
I agreed with her point. They helped me, but they never confronted Will head on. When he stole credit from me, they initially argued back, but they quickly backed down. Same with the patent issue. They were only willing to discuss it at first. They seemed to have given up quickly.
Of course, John, you're also to blame for not speaking up to the manager about something so important. You should have cooperated with others and made your point clearly.
I'm reflecting on that.
That's good. Silence isn't always kindness.
Amy said, and I nodded in agreement. I feel like I also avoided confronting Will directly, which probably led to this mess.
From now on, make sure you speak up.
Speak up.
Sarah, who had quietly approached us, imitated Amy, and we both looked at each other and laughed. The next day, when I went to work, I headed not to the sales department, but to the president's office.
"Ah, you've come. I've also called him in, so please wait a moment."
Right after that, the door was knocked.
Excuse me. Oh,
Will entered the president's office with a pale face, looking surprised to see me. Ignoring Will, the president started the conversation.
"I've heard about the situation. If things continue like this, our company might go bankrupt."
Hearing the president's words, Will's face turned even paler.
"How do you plan to take responsibility?"
it's John's fault. He tricked me.
Will stammered in panic, blaming me outright. As I internally sighed at his behavior, the president let out a deep sigh.
"I've heard about you two from my daughter.
Daughter.
Amy Legend, from accounting, is my daughter."
Yes, Amy is the president's only daughter, and I married into the Legend family.
That can't be.
"You should have suspected a familial relationship when there were 3 legends in the same company."
Will's shoulders slumped on the president's remarks, and he started speaking in a low voice.
I was jealous of him, able to do so much work at such a young age.
It appears he was jealous of my work capabilities despite my youth, leading to his harassment. And upon finding out I had a young and beautiful wife, he acted as he did.
He may indeed be a high school grad. However, he has contributed significantly to our company.
Yes, I suppose so.
The decision was mine alone. I told him to take paid leave, not that he was fired.
That's why I was at home yesterday. Not because I was fired. Amy spoke with the president, and I was allowed to use my paid leave.
"We will consider your punishment thoroughly,"
the president said to Will, who looked down After using up my accumulated leave, I returned to the company, where my colleagues immediately apologized. "We're really sorry for not being able to protect you properly." Surprised by their sudden change, I learned that Amy had stormed in, saying, "You all have a responsibility too." I smiled wryly at her typical behavior and looked around the department. Will was nowhere to be seen. "Where's Will?"
He's been moved to the factory.
Will was made to take responsibility for the recent events, and the president decided he should get hands-on experience in the factory. A few days later, I decided to visit the factory during a break.
I'm so sorry.
I saw him apologize repeatedly to the skilled employees. Approaching him, I called out, "Will."
John.
He looked uneasy upon seeing me. I invited him to talk during lunch break.
All right.
He nodded reluctantly at my words. Then came lunch break.
I'm sorry for my rude behavior.
Will, the former manager, said, while expressing deep apologies. Apparently, he had heard about me from the skilled workers at the factory.
You wanted to help your uncle, didn't you?
Our company makes medical-related products. In fact, I spent my days in trial and error, trying to save my uncle. I'm not a doctor, and being a high school grad, I lack detailed knowledge. Yet, driven by the desire to save him, I continued to work on developing a device that could detect and remove even the smallest illness. It didn't make it in time, though. What I finished was after my uncle had passed away, a machine with an embedded camera to find pathogens, working in perfect sync with doctors to remove them. If it had been ready sooner, it might have saved my uncle. But it was too late.
Your uncle didn't make it, but my nephew was saved.
I looked at him intently. It seems Will's nephew had the same disease as my uncle. While my uncle couldn't be saved, the product I developed enabled a new treatment that saved his nephew's life.
I wanted to work for a company that could save lives, even indirectly. But somehow, I lost my way.
It seems working with the seasoned employees had changed him completely. I can't forgive what you did.
I suppose not.
Do your best here. Make your nephew proud. He nodded at my words. Later, I took over the vacant manager's seat.
How about becoming my successor?
I don't think I'm cut out to be a president. I declined the offers from my father-in-law for the presidency multiple times. If I had managed better, we wouldn't have faced such a threat of bankruptcy. So, I insisted I wasn't the right fit for president, to which the president sadly responded, "That's a pity. I was content with my role." But then an unexpected event occurred.
John, Sarah's going to have a little brother or sister.
Amy was pregnant with our second child, bringing joy not only to me, but also to the president. I need to work even harder to support my growing family. This motivated me to dedicate myself more to my work. Later, I visited the graves of my parents and uncle, reporting to them about everything, including the new baby. I'll do better to protect my precious family in my own way, to save others. As I finished speaking, I was called and turned around. There, my beloved family awaited. "All right, I'm heading out." After saying that, I head towards my family. In that moment, the wind passed through my back as if cheering me on.